There was a certain point in my life where I felt incredibly lonely. It was one of the weirdest feelings because even when I was around people, I still felt like I was on my own. And I really struggled for a while because even though I have family and I'm extremely grateful, I still have always felt like I've sought a deeper connection outside of my home. I've always had a slight envy for people that were able to create and form strong friendships, as I don't really have friends. I desperately wanted somebody to call my phone or wanted someone to text me out of the blue just to check up on me. I wanted someone that would talk to me without me having to talk to them first. And I did more than a few tests to see if anybody would text me if I didn't hit them up first, and to no surprise, my phone was always dry. I thought to myself, how come throughout my whole life, everybody has been inconsistent but me? I realized that the person that has been for me the most, the person that has always showed up, person that has always responded to me even when I doubted it, has been myself. And that's when I decided to learn to love my own company. You see, some people like myself will have a transition from, having a lot of people around them, having a lot of friends, to being kind of a loner. All of a sudden, you go from talkative and bubbly to quiet and introverted. The challenge isn't people asking you, why are you so quiet nowadays, or what's changed? That's not the hard part, but the hard part is finding that comfort when you are just on your own, when most of the time you're spending time with only yourself. And that's what I found scary, because my mind was always moving, because I was always thinking. Every time I would try and sit with myself, for some reason I couldn't do it. I couldn't bear to do it. And anytime I thought of doing it, I dreaded it. And to fix this, it's kind of funny, but what I started to do was play single player games on my PlayStation instead of multiplayer games. And you might be laughing, but at the time for me, that was a big deal, as all I used to play was, Call of Duty, Fortnite, all of those type of multiplayer games at the time. And I remember I had this friend, and I would always try and invite him to the party. I'd always try and invite him to play, but he was always off playing single player games. And I was like, well, this guy's kind of weird, because why is he playing single player games? I don't really understand, until life made me understand. But all jokes aside, what I started to do was incorporate activities I could do on my own. I started working out regularly at home, and this allowed me to destroy my body but also repair my mind. I found that whenever I did work out, my mind was completely clear, and the pain was so much, I definitely was not thinking about anyone at all. I started to draw cartoons, anime characters, you name it. I even started to enjoy washing up or just doing chores around the house. As you see, for me, these were all different forms of therapy. These are things that helped me understand that being in my own presence wasn't as bad as I thought. Once you really learn to love your own company, you learn a lot about yourself. Suddenly, in any interaction with anybody else, you're thinking about the things you don't like. You start to notice, this actually gets on my nerves when people say this, or this is a trigger for me, or I like this and I like that. You start to really build a different sort of connection with yourself. And I know a lot of people are big on meditation, and I know that is something that you're completely alone, you're by yourself, and you're clear in your mind. But I couldn't find that I was able to do this. Instead, I would literally just sit down with myself and not say a word. I wouldn't go on my phone. I wouldn't let anything distract me. And my sole purpose was to just be with me. And I don't mean you're just sitting there, you're staring at a wall. I'm talking about being there and being present with yourself. Although we like to give our attention to everyone else, I can't stress it enough. It's so important to give attention to yourself and to cater to your own needs. And this is a daily reminder, if you don't, who will? Realize you don't need people around you 24/7 to have fun or to even be happy. You realistically don't need anybody. Instead of saying you need somebody, it is only because you want somebody. You should actively want people in your life, not need them. Understand that you need to be able to truly appreciate your own company, because you keep good company. And something I don't really talk about, well, I say I don't talk about it, but I did used to show it a lot, is that I actually cut my own hair. As some of you know, I went to barber school, so I obviously learned. Anyway, da 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 da. Hear me out. I've had a chance to be angry with myself and happy with myself. The amount of haircuts I've messed up, the amount of times I've made myself look crazy is understated, alright? But, you know, in the process of me honing my craft, in the process of me beginning to have patience with myself and trust in the process, now I give myself good haircuts and I feel good that I can do it by myself. And the act of being independent makes me feel less dependent on people and appreciate my company even more. You know, maybe I am biased. Maybe because I used to have a good certain amount of friends that I no longer have. Maybe because I became more closed off person due to me being depressed and going through anxiety. Maybe that has everything to contribute. But I can say now that I am much more different than I used to be. I feel like three other people compared to who I was all those years ago. And that's because all those years where I had noise around me, even before certain events happened in my life, even when I thought I was loving the company I was having around me, the truth was that I never truly once loved my own company. And that's why I dreaded being alone. That's why I didn't like it when it was just me. If you can learn to be happy in your own space, you'll be able to be happy without anybody but yourself. You'll be able to be less dependent on anybody, and you'll be able to control your moods much better because you're used to it. And this branches off to a topic that is dear to my heart, which is loneliness. To be lonely is a feeling I know everyone has at least experienced once in their life. But we never stop to ask the question, are we lonely or do we have freedom? You're not going to be distracted, you're not going to have a lot of noise around you, but you will have a chance for solitude. You will have a chance for self-discovery. You will have a chance to explore yourself and to grow as a person. In this life, we are certainly not owed anything and nothing is promised. So you are not guaranteed to have good friends around you. You're not guaranteed to have the sort of people you want around you. But you are guaranteed to always have yourself. And maybe you're just a lone wolf. I mean, you don't have to look at it in a negative way. Maybe this was always how it was meant to be. Maybe this is so you can focus and stop letting people get in your way. You have nobody holding you back. Got no one to point the finger to, no one to blame but yourself if anything goes wrong. I've come to realize that being alone isn't a weakness. To be alone doesn't make you weak, but to be alone makes you strong. To be alone is powerful. Boy, it ain't easy when it's just you and your thoughts. But once you learn to control it, once you conquer it, it becomes easier. Something that we all do is ignore the fact that we do have people there for us. We do have people in our lives that have always been there for us. And for me, that has been my family at home. They have helped me so much. I owe everything to them. And they are the reason why I'm here today. All those years, I thought I was alone. I thought, I'm finished. There's no way I can come back from this. All those years I was ignoring the fact that I had family right here, something that people don't even have, something that some people wish they had. And I was wishing that I could form some sort of a connection with somebody outside of my household. I was being a fool. I used to hate being alone. I used to dread the fact that I no longer had people I could speak to on a daily basis. I used to crave and not really understand why I seek for deeper connections with other people. And I used to be blind to the fact that I always had one person that I could 100% count on. And that was myself. All of this stopped when I started and learned to appreciate and love my own company. Magan.